So there's just too much money in freelancing, but of course there's also the process of learning, taking time to know that the big bag would come. So you've got to of course start somewhere. From my experience, I've also learned that it's a process.
Hi everyone, you're welcome to another exciting episode of the Daba Podcast. My name is Stephanie Beecroft and I'll be your host today. Before we go into the program of today, I would like to give a very big shout out to our amazing 40K subscribers. Thank you so much for sticking with us all through this period. And if you are just joining us for the first time today, kindly like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now today on our episode of this podcast, I have a very brilliant, intelligent young man who is joining me in the studio today. I'd like you guys to meet him and hear all the amazing achievements that he has accomplished so far. Without talking too much, let's meet who this handsome gentleman is. Hi Hilary, nice to meet you. Welcome to the show.
Hello Steph. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. My name is Hilary Remy and I'll be here of course today with Steph in the studio.
Thank you. So Hilary, we'll just go straight into our program for today. You're on this program because we have seen you achieve some milestones. We've seen you crush certain things, and we'd like to share your story with the world. Let them know that they too can achieve financial freedom. Because if you hear what this young man has done, let me not say too much. So, Hilary, let's get to meet you. Let's know a little bit about you. Who is Hilary?
Okay, my name is Hilary Remy, of course. And I'm a content strategist, a content writer. So basically what I do is use writing to help businesses and people building personal brands, gain more visibility, on the internet, gain more audience on the internet, of course, which translates into, making more money, more sales.
At the end of the day, it's all about sales. Yeah. Thank you so much, Hilary. So, like you've just said, what you do is content writing. Obviously, is online.
Yes.
Most of these clients, you've not met them one-on-one.
Yes.
So I would like to know, how did you start making money online? I mean, what led you to go online? What led you to take your craft online?
Okay. I think to answer that, I would need to share a little story.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So it was during COVID period. Okay. So basically, I come from a family where things were very, very tough. So I basically had to sponsor myself through school.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I was basically doing a lot of stuff to keep up with having to pay school fees, feeding school and all that. So
all by yourself?
Yes, all by myself.
Wow.
All by myself, because after I finished secondary school, even before secondary school, just SS3, my parents could not afford to send me to school anymore. So
Wow.
I remember that SS1, and then I had in church, my pastor just liked me and said this guy is brilliant. So my pastor basically sponsored me SS1, SS2, SS3, and of course parents then said they could so that's it. A pastor is done, but we're also done, that kind of a thing. So the onus was on me to, if you're going to further, you've got to do it yourself and all that.
Yeah.
So I basically started teaching, doing a few jobs here and there, stayed at home for 3 years, was able to save up some money, got admission, then paid acceptance and all that. So I was basically doing different jobs while I was in school, working in a lotto company. So I was doing sometimes nights, and weekends to make money to be able to sponsor myself through school. And then it was on and on. And COVID period, I was working with so a company that sells foodstuffs in Ibadan. So what they do is they buy stuff from the north, right, and Gombe and places like that, and they come resell in Ibadan. So they sell in bags, rice, beans, maize, millet and stuff like that. So I was basically working as a delivery boy. So what I do is there's these Aboki guys that ride bikes. So we had 2 of them working for the company. So what I do is when people make orders, when people buy stuff online, so I deliver. So I'm on bike, I mount the bike, carry the bags of rice, beans. Sometimes I have 2-3 bags on my laps around almost everywhere or in Ibadan, right? So it happened that there was a time a friend of mine, I told him I'm going to share this here because it's just funny. He had a breakup, so he then we needed a like somewhere to like clear his mind. So he just sent me a message. He said he wanted to come to my side. He stays in Ife, so then of course he came, and it was an evening. So I asked him to meet me at my workplace before we go home. So he did, and I was supposed to run a delivery before we head home. And so he saw me. He saw what I was doing, like, and when I got back, I was like, guy, this thing you're doing, like, he will not do it for any amount, that kind of a thing. So I was like, if I don't do this, how then am I going to
how do you make money?
Yeah, so he then told me that, guy, I know you've always done like poetry, you write poems and all that. Don't you know that things like you can actually polish your writing skills and then monetize online? So he told me, he spoke to me about, his name is Dayo Samo. So then he spoke to me about Upwork, Fiverr, and freelancing platforms like that, and encouraged me to polish my writing skills, which was what I did. It took me a while to really get the hang of it, but I eventually did, and it's just been progress since
then. Amazing. That's a huge inspiration, Hilary. Thank you. Okay, so now that we know, how you got here, you have mentioned in the course of of our conversation that what you do online is content writing. How did you start content writing?
Okay, so basically, like I said, I used to write poetry. It was just natural, right? And but it was just poetry, and for me, I think it was just me and my guys. It was something about passion, so we didn't know it was something we could monetize. So when that's my friend, and when he spoke to me about Upwork, freelancing as a whole, so I remember that period. I was on Facebook. I used to see like people talk, say a few things about digital skills, writing, graphic design here and there. And it just happened that I sort of like saw one ad on Facebook. It was a lady who wanted to take a writing class, right? So I just, if I can remember well, then I think it was like 2,000 naira, 2,500 naira. Yeah.
What year was this?
That was 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 19. So, I just paid to join the class, and then, she took the training for like a week. It was audio, and, we had assignments to do. So, that was how I polished my writing skills.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I started applying for jobs on Upwork, and, got jobs. In the first few months, it was still, I was still trying to learn. So it was more like, also, even though I'd polished my skill, at the same time, I had to like learn on the job. I remember that, I was the second client, I had to do a lot of editing, more editing and all, but, I just kept improving.
So from what you're saying, you made an investment of 2,000 naira
yes.
to polish your skill, to take it to Upwork.
Yes.
I mean, it's crazy. I can't believe it, but that's amazing. So, when you started, the whole Upwork thing, what made you feel like freelancing was the way to go? I know a lot of people will feel like, why don't I go and get a job with a company? Why don't I do an internship with a company? But you went straight up.
Yes.
What made you feel like freelancing was the thing?
Was the way. I think it was, firstly, when the company I was working with as a delivery boy, I was basically doing from like 8 in the morning to around 6 in the evening every day. I remember that they started with me paying me 20,000 naira.
Really?
And then and of course to me then it was big money. So 20,000 naira, and with all the stress, so a lot of times I was basically spending a lot of those money even treating myself every month. So and then later on they increased it to 30, but it was in that range. So I remember, so after I had created my Upwork account, I remember I even had to like pay, and that's very funny that I did not know how to create the account. I didn't really know how things were, but I was engrossed in the job I was doing. So I had the offer to, people who would help me set up the account, and then I'm going to pay them 20,000 naira, and that was my salary as at then. So actually, So I actually then had, did that. I was just, because it was for my friends. I felt like, okay, so I sent the money, created the account, did everything, and I remember that. So back to your question. So after school resumed, so after school resumed, I got back to school, And then for a long time, I had the account, I was not serious with it. So this period, I was, of course, so I was now basically spending my savings, the little money I saved from the job. And then there was this, it was exam period, there was this evening, I was, just in my house, some folks were playing football. And I remember that I just said, I just had that nudge in my head, let me check my email. And I checked my email and I noticed, I remember the woman's name clearly, Amanda Roy. So she was requesting for a refund. So in my mind, a refund of $40. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't understand. Like,
how did we get here?
Like $40 from where to where. So I checked it and I just quickly went to my Pop app and I saw it. And I'm like, God.
Oh my God.
I called my friend, like, guy, this person is asking for a refund. What do I do? And I remember that even stylishly insulted me. You have money now. That's why I like. What do I do? He said I cannot do anything because the woman bought. It was a project catalog offer. The woman bought the catalog. And it's been like 2 weeks. Check my app. The woman kept messaging me, and
there was no response.
Yeah, there's no response. So she basically asked for a refund. So for me, I just said to myself that if this could have given me $40, which I lost, then it would give me more.
It would give you more.
Yeah. So I just finished exams then, and I just got serious with it. And in the space of like 3 weeks, I got another one. It was $100. So I'm like,
oh my God!
So that was all I needed.
If you can get $100, more can come out of it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually very, very interesting.
Yeah.
This story you've shared, just takes me back to some of the people I've had experience or encounters with who buy courses or start off in the journey of doing something and they just abandon it. Yeah. You leave it halfway. Like, what did you expect? Like, is it going to just start milking money from there? Okay, so let's go to our next question. I'd like to know, you've been in this freelancing space, give or take, like 2019, 2020, that's like
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
What would you say are some of your experiences?
Okay. Firstly is the fact that it's a no-brainer. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money, a lot.
I like that.
A lot, to the point that I myself, I feel like, there's just so much to come. Right, and it's one of the things I tell those who are close to me, like my students, those I teach freelancing. I tell them this: I've seen folks, like people who have gone ahead of me, make crazy money, and one of them is somebody I respect a lot. I was speaking to the boss about that, how like he was in this podcast some years back, and he's just somebody who inspires me. So there's just too much money in freelancing. But of course, there's also the process of learning. There's the process of taking time to know that the big bag would come, right? The big bag will come with time. So you've got to, of course, start somewhere and then wait. So you're basically growing. So, from my experience, I've just learned that it's a process. So there's people, a lot of persons come in and just want instant results.
That's instant money.
Exactly. So like, they tend to handle like it's Ponzi, right? So it's just you got to believe that we have this saying in the freelancing world where we say if you can make $10, you can make 1,000, and if you can make 1,000, you can do 10,000, and on and on. So just coming knowing. So my experience has taught me that there's just too much money, but also it's a process.
Gradual.
So you've got to just take it time by time, keep learning the trends, keep learning, know what you've got to do part time.
Part time, because it keeps
changing.
New things keep coming
definitely,
up. Amazing.
Yeah.
Now I've heard you mention things like there's plenty money, there's so much money. Just give us a hint, like what's the highest amount crazy amount you've made so far with freelancing, and what's like the lowest?
Okay, I think from way back then till now. Okay, so I'm going to do in dollars. I'm going to do in naira. Or let me just So I think the lowest I've done is say about $250.
Wow.
Right, and then the maximum in a month I've done like 3+ around 3,007.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a month.
In a month.
Yeah, a month. A month.
How many of us are earning that kind of amount?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So imagine doing that in a year. the math is it's endless.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is not like the list. There's still possibility for
course,
bigger opportunities coming up.
Yeah, people do way more. Way more.
This freelancer, I should admit I will not go and put my head inside. But I would like to know, so far with what you've experienced in the freelancing space, what are like some of the lowest, like one of the bad, instances, like the low situations you've had? You get my question? Like, what are some of those bad experiences you've had, as because no business is still waters. There's no career space that is just smooth. You must have some of those bump challenges. What are those challenges you've experienced?
I think it would be like that was 2021.
Okay.
When lost. So I had a bad experience with about 2-3 clients in the short space of time.
Wow.
Right, where all of them felt like it was as though it was something spiritual. Of course, it's not spiritual. It's just one of the things that happened. But everybody just sort of like left me bad reviews.
Oh.
Having to a job you're supposed to do in like 3 days, 4 days, and we're done. And this client just kept dragging it, and it was going to like 3 weeks. 3 weeks plus. Guy, we're supposed to be done with this already. Like everything you're asking me to revise, to do again, I've done it already, and you keep coming up with new things. So, and at the end, the client comes out and says, "Don't work with Hillary. He's not patient." That kind of a thing. And I'm like,
what?
You guys? So yeah, I had like 2-3 of that in same period of time. So that's been like my lowest. But it also taught me that and it's one of the things I say, I try and put out a lot on my Twitter page, which is that that as a freelancer, it taught me that you've got to be able to examine yourself. You're actually good at what you do. A client does not own you.
I like that.
Yeah, so because it's possible for newbies to have such experience and just feel like, man, clients are hard. No, clients are not hard in per se. It's just human. So sometimes you can meet humans that are hard.
Yes.
So that's been like my lowest experience so far in freelancing.
I actually like the way you handled it, because like you said, sometimes these experiences tend to define us.
Yeah.
You now start seeing yourself in the light of what that client has said about you, but it's not the truth. It's not the truth. So Hillary, just if you were to start all over again with the experience you've had now, if back in time you were to start now, what would you do differently?
I think I would have listened to my friend more.
Oh.
Yeah, so sort of like having a mentor, like somebody who has gone ahead
to guide you.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, because today I mentor people, so there's just some errors that as a newbie you would. A simple thing like for the first 6 months plus of me, making money on Upwork, I was basically withdrawing straight from, I don't know if it's fine to mention payment platforms, withdrawing straight from Payoneer, which was lower, like way lower to what my guys were doing then.
Okay.
But I remember he said I should get other platforms. No, sorry. I was withdrawing straight to my Naira account.
Okay.
I was withdrawing straight to GT Bank.
So they were converting it for you?
Yeah, so it was lower to if I had, gone through Payoneer and then maybe Grey. Of course, then there was no Grey yet. So basically, he told me to quickly go get my international passport then, so I can verify my Grey and I'll be able to like withdraw higher. In my mind, I'm like,
it wasn't necessary.
Yeah,
you didn't think highly of it.
Yeah, so it was just one day I sat down and I just. So I think I made a withdrawal, and in my mind I needed money at that period, so I made the withdrawal, and for me I felt like this is more to what I was expecting. As I just sat down and did the calculation of how much if I had done Payoneer to what I've been doing for the past month, I just discovered it was a lot of money. I lost a lot of money through that, and I just had to quickly go get the passport. So I would have listened more.
Listen early. Start early with a mentor.
Yeah.
You can't know it all. Definitely. It's not possible. Yeah. So in this 2024 that we are, I've heard people say the market has changed or trends have changed. the money has shifted from this industry to this industry. If someone, was considering going into freelancing, what would be your advice to that person, to a newbie thinking of wanting to go into freelancing?
Okay, I think number one is to be grounded with your skill, right?
The skill you're offering on freelance.
Yes, the skill you're offering, the service you want to offer. So these days, there's a lot of persons talking freelancing. When it comes to their skill sets, they are half-baked, right? So, so you now have people who come in, get their first, gig and do poorly, and of course, maybe have one or two issues. And it takes me back to what I said earlier. You've got to be sure that you're good at what you do, right? So that's the first thing, your skill set, the service you're going to offer. One thing I usually say is, okay, many of you are shouting, okay, you need a job, you need a gig, you need an offer. If it comes, can you actually do it?
Can you handle it?
Yeah, can you handle it? So the first thing for anybody who's coming in is, of course, now, what skill do you want to offer? What service do you want to offer? Now then learn that properly. Of course, things will change over time, but as things change, you learn the new trends too, right? You learn the new trends too. So firstly, decide on a skill and then get yourself grounded in the skill. Very, very important. Because if you're grounded, you would be bold. You have a strong portfolio. Clients will see that you are good at what you do, and you can even charge, not as a newbie, you charge like somebody who has been in the game for a while, because you're good at what you do. So you don't have to go start on that charging because you're not even sure if what you do would be quality work.
Okay, so in line with this, amazing advice that you've given, what would you say is one challenge they should look out for? A newbie starting out, what is that one challenge that usually hits most newbies? What should they look out for?
Okay, maybe a few, but is one challenge that would be, I think I said, okay, I answered something similar to this just last week on the Twitter space. I said is firstly the idea of quick money. So come in with the mindset of delayed gratification. Okay, right. Which is, because you would hear my story, for example, you hear somebody else's story, and you're hearing this dollar, that dollar, and then you come in with that mindset. In your first 1 month, you want to quickly do $3,000.
The same.
You want to do $4,000. Exactly. So, and then when you come in, and maybe the first month, all you did was $80, or maybe you just did $150, you're like, you're discouraged. If you do it another month, you're discouraged because you feel like there's something you don't know that these guys know. Yes. But actually don't know is experience. And it will come with time. So come in with mindset of delayed gratification. If you are hearing Hilary's story, just know that it's been 4 years, right? To
get here.
Yes. Yeah. So he's almost, of course, it happens. Sometimes it's just the blessing of the internet. It happens that you might get that result quickly, but don't come in. That's not the norm. So don't come in with that mindset of you want to get it quick.
Beautiful. Yeah. Please, if you want to go into freelancing, this is not it's not
get rich quick scheme.
It's not get rich quick scheme. Yeah. And these words of wisdom that Hilary is dropping is not by chance. It's not because he wants to motivate you. It's the real deal. Yeah. So Hilary, I would like to know, what is that one thing, or what are the specific things that you would say you love about Daba or about Chris Annie?
Okay. Honestly, I've known Chris Annie for a while, even though, this is the first time I'm seeing him physically.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, followed him since Facebook, right? I think I said following him very well around 2016, 2017.
Wow.
Right, yeah. So it's just somebody I've always liked the audacity with which he speaks the things that he believes in. And it's something that inspires me a lot, right? He's strong on his convictions when it comes to his faith. He's strong on his convictions when it comes to the business world, and of course politics too.
Yes,
right? So,
everything, nothing missing.
Exactly. So I look at him and just the boldness, the audacity with which he says the things he says, and it's something that I learned from personally.
Okay.
Right, because I can be very reserved.
Yeah.
So it's something that I learned from personally, and of course, Daba as a whole, I've watched content on. When Daba drops new stuff, I do my best to watch as much as I can, from Tobola, Ola, Ronald Zimmerman, different interviews. So I love the fact that Daba is out there inspiring people, making people know that there's so much for them to be able to do in the internet.
Yeah.
Right. The internet has that opportunity for you to, have the kind of life where it doesn't matter where you're coming from. I came from, I was speaking at an event in December, and I just gave a scenario. I said that where I come from, my family, if it was possible to, years back, if it was possible to do sort of like a poverty competition, I think I'm serious, it was that bad.
I can't believe you're saying this.
Yeah, it's the truth. It's just the truth. We're not like that bad.
I mean, that's reality.
That's reality, I have 4 junior sisters, and when my mom and my dad were all living in a room, it was that bad, right? And to be where I am today, it just shows you that the internet is a blessing.
Wow.
I don't know, of course it's possible, but I don't think if I've had to finish school then go get a job, I think it would have taken me a long time to get to where I am today.
Beautiful.
So the fact that Daba is preaching that is one of the things I love about.
We're discussing earlier, you made mention of the fact that you saw one of our podcasts like this.
I hope he watches this. Tobola Olamide. I think Daba interviewed him. That should be maybe a year plus now or 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I remember where I was staying then. I before I came live, I had a chat. I just sent a video she made to, one of them. I said, you remember when I told you that after watching Tobola, I was like, one day I'll be here, right? So when Sir Chris reached out to me, I think that was around November.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, this is actually going to come.
Is the dreams do come true? Dreams do come true.
Yeah.
If you're able to, have the vision about it, you confess it and you walk towards it, there is nothing that is going to stop you from those, from your dreams coming true. Hilary, it's been amazing hearing your story. It's been beautiful. If you're watching us right now and you're still contemplating or thinking of what to do, go check out the freelancing course on Daba School right now. I promise you, you're not going to regret it at all. Okay? So, Hilary, we've had an amazing session with you, but before I let you go, I'd like to ask you a few questions that are not related to our interview. Okay. So just so our audience watching us can get to know the other side of Hilary that is not in making money, not the making money part. So Hilary, between me and you, if you were to choose a superpower, what would it likely be?
I think it would be maybe the ability to fly.
Hey, why do you want to fly?
Okay, so basically I wanted to say the ability to move from one place to another, disappear,
to teleport.
But I think my kind of person, honestly, maybe if some people hear this, it might still sound like motivation, but it's not the reality. I think life has just taught me that you can't. I don't believe in skipping process. So I feel honestly, it's just how my life has, So I believe, of course, I want to go faster. That's why I'm picking flying. But at the same time, I don't want to move and I'm in another place.
So you don't want to teleport, but you want to fly there. You're looking for the faster routes to get there.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So my second question would be, what is a group of cows called?
Herds.
I don't believe you got it. I thought you were going to fail it. But thank you so much, Hilary. It's been amazing hosting you here in the studio. We've had an amazing session. And this is to say to you that I would love you to come back again. By this time around, I was talking about, some billion, kind of figures. Exactly. Let the figures be. You get what I'm trying to say. So would really love to host you again. And I really wish that, or I hope that you are able to supersede, everything that you've ever dreamt of, and for all the plans that you're putting in place, I really hope that you're able to supersede them, beyond even your imagination. It's been an amazing time with all of you watching us. If you've not subscribed to the channel, please kindly do. Share our videos, like our videos, follow, and we hope to see you next time on our Daba Podcast. It's been an amazing time. Please drop your comments. Let's know your feedback on what exactly you've learned today. Do have an amazing time. See you. Bye.
Thank you, guys.